What is going on, everybody? Today we're looking at more NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figures, but this time from the Mirage comics. So first off, we have the Ultimate Foot Ninja, which is just the Foot Ninja, but it's ultimate because it comes with a lot of accessories. So it's a nice figure you can army build. So get the base figure. It has some stuff we can switch out and then also give all the different weapons. So there's just kind of like a comic picture of them on the front there, which looks pretty cool. We have the picture on the side. Of course, just looks like your basic Foot Ninja, just in a blue color. So we have like this robe we can give to, as well as this additional mask. And then I think there's, some different heads, so one with a bandana and one without, and then kind of showing just all those different accessories off there. And then this box for some reason this has a front flap thing, again showing all the different options you can do, so just kind of showing off all the stuff. And then we have the actual Foot Ninja itself in there, again with all the accessories. So we have the accessories in the front as well as in the back there, so a lot to look at with that. And then we also have a Foot Enforcer. Now the Foot Enforcer and the Wanderer were Best Buy exclusive, so we did order them from there. Of course, I think they just went up recently on like Big Bad Toy Store and stuff, so you can get those if you didn't want Best Buy. But we have a Foot Enforcer, again a part of the foot, again in the blue as well, that matches with that, which is cool. He's just a much larger guy, which is going to be pretty cool to look at, and we'll see the size comparison between those two. But yeah, just like a big beefy enforcer guy to go with our foot, so pretty cool for that. And then we have the Wanderer, which is Michelangelo. Now this is just from an alternate storyline, and I'll go into more detail about that, but it's just pretty cool to get this alternate version of Michelangelo. So it just looks like a basic turtle with no like mask covering and some like basic torn up clothes, and it comes with a few accessories, so it looks pretty cool in there. It's kind of showing off what it's going to look like there. And again, I'll go into more details of the story of what that's from, which I guess is kind of cool. So I'm excited to check these three figures out, so let me get them out of the box and we'll take a look at them together. And let's start off with the Ultimate Foot Ninja figure, which Foot Ninjas are grunts of the Foot Clan that are loyal servants to Orokosaki, and they are highly trained, though easily bested by the Ninja Turtles, and armed with various ninja weapons. So overall, look pretty cool. Of course, we've dealt with foot soldiers plenty of times before, so nothing really new or different. The only real difference with it being from the Mirage comics, they have this all blue color, so they're pretty much all blue from head to toe, although they have the red variation, so they have red on the eyes and the red bandanas up on the head. So it adds some color in there, but the rest is all blue, and they have different like sort of blue highlights and shades and stuff to make it part of the comics. So we have the black lines with the light blue like sort of colors underneath the highlight and stuff, so it looks pretty cool. But like I said, just being all mostly blue kind of makes them a little bit boring, but it does fit in what they're going for with like all the blue characters of Foot Ninjas that we're going to be getting. We'll go and do the movements, so the head can twist all the way around, the head can look down that far and up that far. So we do have the joint of like the head at the neck itself, so a little bit of movement in there, so a little bit back and forth. But then we do also have the neck joint right in here that does have the hinge, so it allows it to go back and forth a little there as well, so add some movement into there. But then we get the shoulders that do come up, so I can get it about that far. Of course they're NECA, so start to get stiff and everything, but it can get up at least that far and then rotate around within there. It's kind of hard to get them to twist all the way around. Again, with it being the NECA, the paint's like sticking, so it's kind of just like moving it and then we'll catch, and then it's hard to get it to move again. So just back and forth there. We get the bicep twist as well. Then we get the double elbow joint that can get to bend up at least that far, so about 90 degrees, with the wrist that'll twist all the way around and hinge back and forth. Then at the waist we do have a twist, no ab crunch or anything, it's solid there, but it does twist all the way around. Then we get the hips that can come up pretty close to 9 if you force it up with the skirting, can get up there, and then out to the side as well, can do the splits. And they do have a thigh twist up in there, so we'll twist around pretty easily. And then we get the double knee joint that can bend up that far to the back, which isn't bad. We get a shin twist at the top of the boot, and then the foot will flex back and forth and twist side to side, and then has the toe joint on the end as well. So pretty decent movements, just stuffers from being NECA figures where they have the paint that sticks, stuff is stuck, so I had to heat up a lot of the figures and get the joints loose. So just having to deal with all that, which is the annoying part, but he works out just fine once you get that stuff loosened. But the feature of this foot soldier is that it comes with a lot of accessories. Of course, so many accessories, like I don't even know what we're gonna do with all of them, but he does come with a lot, so we can pick and choose. So first, he does come with some different head options. So we do get a head that doesn't have the bandana, so he just has the red eyes, so that's an option. So maybe like a lower level foot soldier or something, not exactly sure rank wise, so don't know if the bandana signifies anything, but just one without the bandana. And then we also get an additional head, so we can see more of a face there, but he has like this, I don't know if it's like a training cover or something, like protect you from getting hit in the face or what the deal is, is, but he just has this like face guard sort of thing with like the bars or whatever. Looks pretty cool with just like the face design from the comics, so that's an option as well. And then we get a bunch of hands as well, so it looks like automatically he's got a fist hand on here and like a grip hand on the other one, so we get an additional fist hand to go on the right side there. We get a grip hand to go on to the left, so we can obviously have the opposites. We get a trigger finger hand, so a grip hand but just with a trigger finger for the right. We get a set of double hands, so one for each hand of these grip hands that look like they could hold size. That's mostly like what I always picture these designed for, but we don't get any size, so probably just for some other weapons, maybe like the bow and arrow, to use that. But yeah, just get those set of hands. And then we get sets of hands with claws on them, which are Tekko Kagi's, which look pretty cool. So they almost have what I would call like Wolverine claws, but we have 4 claws on each hand, so we get a set of fists with those claws, so we can have those that they could fight with, as well as a pair with more open hands, so you can pick and choose fist or open hands if you'd rather have any of those. And then we also get some clothing to go with them. Again, don't really know what we'd use it for, but we do get this blue robe, of course blue to go with the thing, so we have this robe that we can put on the character as well, so fit it down inside there. And it does have this weird belt design that's kind of like stretchy and has velcro on it and stuff to close it around, so we have this robe design as well that you can put on them if you wanted, but I don't really know what that's for. And maybe to go along with that as well, we do have this neck piece that you can put on, so it's like some materials, I mean, fold down like say the hood of that outfit or something, so you could put that on with that as well. And now after all that, we get to our weapons, so we have a large number of weapons that we'll kind of go through. I guess we'll just start. We get some ninja stars, so we have different sets, so we have 4 of these style of ninja stars, so these little blue ones that have the 6 points on them, so just the little ninja stars. And then we have one of these big silver ones that looks pretty cool with the 4 points on it as well, so again, pick and choose those. But I always hate ninja stars because it's like they're so tiny and it's like I don't know what to do with them because characters barely hold them, so they're just little things you have to worry about. Then he comes with some swords, so first we get a sword in a sheath that has the strap, so obviously we can put this around on his back, so we have a sword here, so that's an option. So just a nice thin sword. I like how it's got this sort of blue color to it as well, so obviously that is an option. We get a katana, or what I assume is going to be a katana because it looks like Leonardo's swords but just all in silver this time, so just a normal sword there. And then we get what I guess is a butterfly sword, so just a thick bladed sword there as well that sort of matches that first one with sort of the blue color on it, so that looks pretty cool. Then we get some additional, what I'd say more like knives or something, so we get this thick knife, so it's pretty thick, so pretty weird knife for that, but a white knife or dagger. We get this one as well that has sort of a curve to it, which looks pretty cool, and even sort of like a morning star there at the bottom of it, so that's a weird weapon, again pretty thick in design though. And then we also get a katar, which is pretty cool, the triangle sort of weapon, so that looks really cool. So you have that sort of dagger, it has protection, that sort of goes up the arm if you put that in the hand a little, so those always look really cool, so that's an option. Then we also get what they label as a kasurigama, which usually has a comma on the end of it, but it's a comma with a chain attached to it, then it has like a weighted in, and this one has like a little morning star design on the end of it. But this, instead of it being a comma, which is like the little scythe weapon, this just has like a blade of some sort on the end of it, so that looks pretty cool with the chain and stuff, so again that's always an option there. We get a trident, which looks pretty cool, so we have a trident, so the 3-pronged trident on one end with a spear tip on the other end. Again, I love how it's got some of that little blue shading on the end of it, so that's a cool weapon as well. Kind of out of nowhere, we get a gun, so they have guns as well, so this like old classic looking gun, which looks pretty cool. I like that a lot for the Foot Ninja, would be pretty awesome to give him that. And then maybe what I'll give him is that we get a bow and some arrows as well, so I guess hopefully that would look pretty cool, and hopefully we can get it in his hands, especially with those additional hands and stuff. And then he also comes with a quiver to store the arrows, so we can put the quiver on his back, and try and get the bow and arrow in his hands, so I'll probably try that. So obviously it's hard to really get into his hands properly, but there's about the best I could get him to hold it there, so it's pretty cool. It does work out relatively decent, especially with the additional hands and the weapons and stuff, but like I said, obviously I can't really get it perfect, so probably have to work on the joints or something to get him to fit a little bit better. But it is cool at least to have this foot soldier and have all those different options. Like I said, probably too many options, but at least it gives you those options, so if you want an army build, you can have all different ones. And we did get to them since it is an army builder, so we do have this other one that we just sort of picked some weapons to give to, so this is why we have that. So we have those 2 versions now of the foot soldier to go along with our Foot Clan, which is pretty cool. And overall I like this. Like I said, just maybe way too many options to give for weapons. I always struggle trying to figure out what to give characters, so I wish they would just like, here's a character and this is the weapons that go with him specifically, and then you can buy multiple of those, like say of an archer or just a normal fighter with a sword or whatever. Just make it easy on me so I know what I'm buying from the start and can just buy a bunch of whatever I want. Overall I think it is pretty cool. Like I said, obviously just basic foot soldier, nothing too excited about those themselves, and then with them being all blue, pretty boring in that way. But overall I think it is pretty cool, and like I said, getting all the options does sort of fill out the price and stuff, so it is pretty cool. And next up we have the Foot Enforcer, which is the most skilled and menacing of the Foot Clan. And overall it's just another foot soldier, just a large guy here this time. And I'll of course bring in that other foot soldier and you'll see just how big it is. But yeah, it's pretty much dressed just like the last one, just mostly all in blue. But I like how it has some different shading and more colors. So lighter blue, darker blues, kind of into purples in some spots. But then as the black, you know, covering up his face so we can see some of the face there. So you just see the red eyes, some black there all around the neck, and then the different shading and stuff on like the flap here in the front as well, going from the light blue all the way up into black. And it just goes all the way down to his feet with the different shades of blue. He does also have like this forearm armor with the spikes on it that matches the hands as well. So it just gives you some difference there with some armor up on his shoulders. So he does have a little bit more added to him than just the basic foot soldier, but relatively just the same design, just a much larger guy. But for his movements, the head will twist all the way around. So yeah, should be able to twist all around. May have some issues because of his head piece, but he can also look down that far and up that far. So pretty decent movements there. We get the shoulders that come up pretty much to 90 and can rotate around within there. We get the bicep twist and the double elbow joint that bends up at least that far there. So pretty much 90. The wrist will twist all the way around and hinge. Should be back and forth, but it seems like the hand's sort of deep down in there. So it's really hard to get any movements at all. And then having these spikes doesn't help because it's poking into my hands. So it can be painful there. So just be careful around that. Then we go to the abs. No ab crunch once again, but it does sort of twist around there at the waist. Then we get the hips that can come up pretty close to 90. Got to kind of force it because of the skirting, but can get up close to 90 and out to the side. Thigh twist once again, and the double knee joint that can bend up that far to the back. Then we get the foot that'll flex back and forth and twist side to side, and no toe joint on this one. So much bigger figure, has some less joints and not as much range moves, but still works out fine just the way it is. Now for accessories, he comes with a lot less accessories, but still has stuff. So first we have a set of grip hands. So we just get some standard grips since he has fists on already. So standard grips with the spikes on the back there. Then we also get a flat palm hand option as well if you want that. And then finally we have a set that's sort of like more posed up. It looks like he's doing like the devil horn sort of hands. I assume it's just sort of posing of some sort, but cool to have those as well as another option. Then for weapons, we get some swords. So first we have a butterfly sword again, but this time it has spikes on like the guard piece here. So that's pretty cool. So again, just the thicker sword. So that's an option. Then we have what's labeled as an Ninjato sword. So I don't really know what that means, just besides a like longer sword. And of course with a big guy having a longer sword like that would be pretty cool as well. So this nice awesome sword again with sort of like blue shading on the blade, so that looks pretty cool. Then we get a 3-section staff, so it would be a normal staff, but it's sort of separated here and connected by strings, so it's almost like a set of nunchuck sort of design. So we have those options, which look pretty cool. I don't know how I'd really get them posed up with this, but it'd be just pretty cool to get that. And then finally we have a Naginata staff, which is just a staff with a blade on the end of it. It's almost like a little sword blade there on the end of it, which looks pretty cool again in the all blue. I love how it has the tassels on the end of it as well, so that's a big staff as well. So let me try and pick some weapons to give to him and see what I can do. So it's kind of hard to get that in his hands, but I wanted to give him the big sword just because I think it'd be cool, this big guy carrying a large sword. But unfortunately, because of the big beefiness of his body, it's hard to really get his arms to bend around there. So that's the closest I could really get it into his hands. So that looks pretty cool there. So now he's ready to go against and fight the turtles, which hopefully will be a much more formidable fighter than the normal foot soldier. So there we have our Foot Enforcer that we can now add with our Foot Clan. So there he is with the foot soldiers. Of course, I do have him crouched just a little bit, so he is pretty close in height to them, but he should be a little bit taller if I stood him up straight. But I don't like how they don't mix in colors. Obviously they're all blue, so it works out just fine, but how he has so many different shades of blue going on where they're just pretty much all straight blue. I wish they would match more regularly. And then of course I want to have him being led by Shredder, but this currently is the only Shredder we have out of the box, and his blues don't match either, so it's like just the Foot Clan's all messed up. So they need to kind of work on getting stuff sort of matching to go along with all of this Mirage comic, like the Foot Clan especially, because they're just all going to be different shades of blue, which I guess could be kind of cool, but I'd like them all to be matching. But there we have, yeah, Shredder now with the Foot Clan there back behind him, which is pretty cool, and they can now face off against the Ninja Turtles. And our final figure today is the Wanderer, which is Michelangelo from TMNT number 17. And in this issue of the comic, we see it's a story Mikey is writing of himself in feudal Japan, where he meets a family in the woods and they are attacked by horsemen of the Daimyo, and the daughter is taken. So Mikey saves the girl, and an army of farmers defeat the Daimyo. So it kind of reminds me a lot of the third Ninja Turtle movie with them being in Japan, but this is a story of, you know, Michelangelo coming up with his own storyline of him being the hero. So this is what he look like relatively sort of in the comic. It's not exact, but that's what it's supposed to be. So it just looks like a turtle, so we don't have any bandana or anything on it, so we don't know specifically which turtle it is. And of course, from this, he automatically has the sword sheaths on his back, so you think, oh, it could be Leonardo, but from, like I said, the comic, we learn it's Michelangelo. But it's pretty cool. So he has what almost looks like this burlap sack material sort of on as like a shirt or covering over him, with, of course, the straps going around to hold the swords on his back. And then he's got the wrappings on his biceps and forearms there all the way down to his hands, and then around his shins as well. And then the rest, he's just the green turtle. So the green turtle face there, and left face sort of got an angry face, and then the green on the arms and the legs down to the two-toed feet and the three-fingered hands. Oh, and he also has a little tail, which is kind of funny. I think that's the first time, or at least I've noticed, the turtles have a tail there. And of course his shell, which is being partly covered up. And then he's got the scratches and scrapes and like sort of worn out and stuff all over him there. So it looks like he's been in quite a bit of fights. But overall, figure-wise, I like this just for the turtle. It's got nice big bulkiness to it. And so like this just figure design-wise overall. But movement-wise, we get the head that'll twist all the way around. Can look down that far and up that far. So pretty decent movements there in the head. Then we get the shoulders that come up again pretty close to 90 and can rotate around within there. We get a bicep twist and the double elbow joint that can bend up about that far. And then the wrist will twist all the way around and hinge back and forth. Then we have, I don't know if there's an ab crunch or anything, but he does have some sort of crunching. It's probably just at the waist or somebody can crunch back and forth just a little and twist around at the waist as well. Then we get the hips that can come up again pretty close to 90 if you sort of force it up there and out to the side. We get a thigh twist around and the double knee joint that can bend up that far to the back at least. And then the foot will flex back and forth and twist side to side. And then even his tail in the back does have some movements, barely any, but it can move back and forth just a little and twist around. So I don't really know what direction it should be sort of going in, but I just have it there. So that's pretty cool overall for him. Like I said, like this design, everything, especially since this is like a first time getting more of the Mirage comic turtle since we haven't got that 4-pack yet. So it's cool to have the turtle and sort of experience what it's going to be like. Now, accessory wise, he does come with some additional hands. So we get the hands that are more of like grip hands. So obviously we'll need that to give him some weapons. So we have the grip hands, and then we also have a set of like more open hands, I guess you'd say, like palm hands or whatever you want to call them there. So let's go and give him weapons. So first I'll go and just start with the swords. So we get 2 katana swords, which look pretty cool with the nice white blades there and the brown handles, yellow up at the top and white at the bottom. So those look cool. So I start with these so we can go and just stick these into his back here. So there are the swords sticking out of the sheath in the back. Then we get some other weapons. So it's kind of cool that he has that. So it's kind of like a, you know, could be like a mixture of his brothers again. So he has the swords, and then for the staff, even though it's modified, we do have like this bow staff, but it has the blade on the end of it as well. So kind of like the little sword blade there. So it's like Donnie's staff, but modified with the blade on the end of it there, which again looks pretty cool for that. And then we also get a comma. So we don't get any size or anything to represent Raphael. So it kind of goes against that. It could be his brother's weapons, but we get this comma. It looks pretty cool. So like the little scythe design with the white blade again, and they all wrapped up brown handles. So that's really cool. But again, since this is Michelangelo, we do get his nunchucks, so we can give him the nunchucks. So let's switch out his hands for the grip hands, and we'll put these in him. So there are the nunchucks in his hands. So that looks pretty cool for Michelangelo as the Wanderer to have his nunchucks, have the swords on his back. I wish we could store those other weapons somewhere as well. But overall, I just like this design. Like I said, mostly just to be able to get to experience what the Mirage turtles are going to be like. At least I assume those other ones will be exactly like this, just obviously more Ninja Turtle looking. But overall, I think it looks pretty cool. I like this design a lot. It feels nice and everything for an action figure. So it's really cool to have this version of Michelangelo to add to the shelf. Well, that's it for these NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mirage comics, where we got the Foot Soldier, Foot Enforcer, and the Wanderer Michelangelo. All three are pretty cool. Of course, the Foot Soldier and the Foot Enforcer are, kind of a little more on the boring side because they're just, just guys in all blue, so not a whole lot of details to them. But it was cool to get all the accessories with the Ultimate Foot Ninja. Like I said, just too many accessories. The Foot Enforcer is cool. I just wish his arms would look a bit better so I could get that sword pose better in his hands. And then, like I said, Michelangelo would be cool just to have the normal Michelangelo, but having this version is really cool. I just like the design, and like I said, just the feel and everything of the action figure itself is really nice to deal with. So I'm excited when I actually get those Mirage turtles. So cool figures overall. Like I said, could be a little more exciting, but all three are good for just what they are. So let me know what you thought of these three down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, let me know with a thumbs up. But I want to thank y'all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.